Hello everyone, welcome once again. This is the Paranormal Nightstalker and I am Joel Walling. With me as always is Michael Smith. And today we have an extraordinarily special... Okay, no we don't. But anyway, we do have an episode for you today.
No, we don't.
Yeah, nothing actually extraordinary or special about this one. This is actually quite run-of-the-mill. But we do actually have a lot of topics to talk about. Because people are stupid. That's one. That being said, we're going to talk about inventions in ghost hunting. Number two, we are going to talk about, again, people being stupid. Because have we actually come to a point in modern technology that we have ended up inadvertently de-evolving our evolved selves? And last but certainly not least, because once again, people are stupid. We have yet another ghost hunting phone app that we're going to be reviewing today, I guess we should say. And of course, with me as always to do this is Michael, and Michael has been the one. Which one do you think we should get started off with first?
Well, I don't know. We can go. People are stupid.
All right. Well, then let's talk about the invention, I guess we will call it, for lack of a better term. The new ghost hunting invention that somebody has been putting up online. Now, this is all homemade and everything, and I don't want to dishearten the poor fellow if he happens to be listening. But a man posted what he calls the paranormal, the paranormal, I'm trying to remember what it's, something like the Paranormal Tower, I think is exactly what he called it. The Paranormal Tower. Well, let me pull this back up here, make sure I've got this, because believe me, once you hear about the Paranormal Tower, probably everyone listening is going to run right out and buy one.
Can you send me a picture of it, please?
Yeah, hold on just a second. Let me pull this up. But of course, Facebook is not wanting to work because Facebook is a pain in the ass 99% of the time. Like I said, this Paranormal Tower, as the man calls it, is a camera tripod, which, you know, hey, we use tripods in paranormal investigation all the time. Because, well, we use lots of cameras in paranormal investigations. So we use tripods all the time. But this tripod is special because this tripod has a periscope.
A periscope?
It's what he calls it, a periscope. A dowsing rod. A motion detecting light. A K2 meter. And a REM pod. All built into one. Let's just start off by the good side of it.
You gotta let me look at this thing first.
Okay, I'm getting ready to send that to you right now. But I was going to say let's be nice and let's start off with the positives. But I'll tell you what, while you're doing that, I'll get into the other people are stupid. So, you know, yeah, it was an interesting question was put to me. Well, not really to me, but into a group that I'm part of yesterday. And the question was simple. Do you remember what were they called? The radio boy or something like that?
Oh,
Or talk boy?
Mr. Microphone, I think it was.
Mr. Microphone. That was it. I was remembering the one from Home Alone. You know, where he could record and he could play back stuff and slow it down and speed it up and all of that. They actually did make that into a real toy. My little brother had one. But anyway, this was Mr. Microphone. And basically what Mr. Microphone did was it allowed you to project your voice onto a radio that was near you. It did it into, you know, you had to tune it to the frequencies that weren't being used by a radio station. Needless to say, it wouldn't block out a strong FM signal. But it did, in fact, allow you to broadcast yourself on the radio. It's actually kind of cool. I used to play around with them a lot because I always had a thing for, well, talking and doing stuff like this. You know, that's kind of where this all came from. Is the fact that this is what I used to like to do just for fun. So, someone put this out. That say a Mr. Microphone is close to a spirit box. Now, we're not talking the apps or anything special. We're talking your regular run-of-the-mill spirit box. The Everyone calls them detuned radios. Okay, first, number one, a spirit box is not a detuned radio. It is a radio without the capability of tuning in a station. The tuning device is intact. Hence why you hear radio stations when you're doing the sweep. If you did not have the ability to tune in a radio station, you would hear nothing but static. So they are not detuned. They are untunable. Basically, the idea started out with the Shack Hack. Okay, what they did with the Shack Hack was a common run-of-the-mill Radio Shack radio that had a button on it that allowed you to scan stations. Now, someone got the idea to take apart this radio and take out the chip that allowed you to stop on a station so that it never stopped cycling. And they started noticing they got responses through this. They got voices that didn't, because of the sweep rate, you should not be able to get a full word. This is the working theory behind it. My argument is I've tuned in a lot of stations on a lot of different frequencies. You know, as I've pointed out multiple times before, a station that is set to be its main source be like, say, 97.1. It'll come in on 97.2, 97.3, 97.4, 97.5. It'll also come in on 97.0, 96.9, 96.8, 96.7. So they say, oh, well, its sweep rate's too far. You won't get a full word out of it. Bullshit. Just straight outright bullshit. Unless you got that sweep rate set at a high enough speed, you can get a full word out of it. I have heard a lot of people on YouTube and stuff like that come out with this incredible evidence and this absolutely freaking out in the video, only to hear Adele. That was my favorite. That's my favorite one, and I give the guy full credit because he did say, you know, in the sperm of the moment, he was, you know, just totally infatuated with the response, because he goes, is there anyone here that wants to speak to me? And he gets, hello? And he's like, oh my God, it's talking to me. Did you hear it say hello? It said hello. And then someone pointed out, yeah, that was Adele. And this isn't the other side she's talking about. And he goes, ah, shit, it is Adele. And he actually put it up in the comments, and he actually made a video and said that. He's like, after reviewing it further, yes, it is actually Adele. And I look like a complete idiot. But you're on an investigation, you're doing this stuff, you're in the heat of the moment. Yes, when you get a response like that, it would cause you to just completely fall apart, because it would be a clear and great thing. But the fact is, his sweep rate was low. So that station that came in on 97.1 actually started hitting about 96.6 and ended at 97.8. And yes, on that range, you have enough to get a hello in there. So now we go to the idea, and I almost lost what I was talking about here. The Mr. Microphone. Now the basic question was, if one was broadcasting close enough to you, or to a spirit box rather, would what is being broadcast from the Mr. Microphone come through the radio? And the simple answer is, yes. Absolutely. It also would work with an FM transmitter. I don't know if any of you all have ever used one of those or not. We had a van that only had a tape deck in it. It was I think it was a 2000, 2001 Chevy van, and all it had was a tape deck. Well, it was a few years old, so this was in like 2000, I think it was 2011 or 2012. And we did not have any cassettes, because I don't really think anybody has used cassettes in probably close to 10 or 20 years, you know. So we bought a FM transmitter so that we could tune the radio to a dead station, pop it out, hook it up to a MP3 player, and we played MP3s through the radio. Sounded great, worked great. That was what we did for years until we got our new van that has it has the auxiliary cord and it's Bluetooth, so we can actually hook stuff up to a Bluetooth. Now we don't have to worry about it. But anyway, that's what we used. We used the FM transmitter. So, with this FM transmitter, you could take a voice recorder, you could take a computer, you could take any damn thing you wanted to take, because the FM transmitter works simple. You plug the FM transmitter into the earphone jack. Whatever comes through the earphone jack, it broadcasts to the radio. You could literally record anything you wanted. You could edit it any way you wanted to edit it. You could make it sound as evil or as friendly or as anything you wanted to, and you could put it through this transmitter, and your spirit box is going to hit it. So, that question being asked got me thinking. I've said it a dozen times. We have actually come into an age of enlightenment so far that we have enlightened ourselves practically out of business if you're in the paranormal research field. Because seeing is no longer believing. I've talked about the 30-some second clip a guy did for his film school in California where he recorded his, I believe it was his niece, being grabbed by a golden eagle. It was a great piece of video. It fooled everyone. And it took his professor coming out publicly and stating this is a film school project. Yes, he did exceptional.
Nightly news.
What's that?
It was on the nightly news here.
Yeah, it made it everywhere because everyone that saw it thought it was real. And that's what I'm saying. Even when the guy came out and said, wait, everybody, you got this all wrong. I did this. This was for film school. People picked it apart and were like, he's full of crap. No, this is real. This is real. That's what I'm saying. Before it got lost from like the Yahoo News and different news outlets, and I was on the local news here. Before it got taken from those, and those all stopped showing it, it took his professor coming out and saying, this was done by one of my students and it was turned into my class. The guy even posted pictures of his niece and his, like I said, I'm positive it's his niece, and his brother and, I believe, brother and sister-in-law, showing that the baby was fine. It's like, he did all of this stuff to try to prove it was fake, but people still argued it because it looked so convincing and so real that people believed it was real. We go into that with photography now. With Photoshop, almost anything is possible. And again, I've talked about the fact that I am in a lot of groups on Facebook. And I would say probably 95% of the pictures that are posted are pareidolia orbs, which are practically completely dismissed in all forms, unless they are their own light source, or those ghost cameras that allow you to take pictures and put little ghost figures in it. Well, so we are in a state right now where seeing is not believing. Where for all of the centuries before now, if you saw it, it was real. And that was it, pure and simple. Well, thanks to our advancement in technology, we have now made hearing not believing. So now if we see it, it doesn't mean it's real. If we hear it, it doesn't mean it's real. What's next? Are we going to be able to figure out a way to make feeling not believing? I mean, it's like, did you just feel something hit you? Yeah, but I'm sure it was something else. It was fake. Someone photoshopped it. There's no Photoshop for real life. Well, something happened. I don't know what it wasn't. Why I didn't feel. I mean, hell, I don't know. It could have been a gnat or a mosquito. Mosquitoes normally don't hit you. You hit them, but that's beside the point. But that's what we're looking at here, folks. And what it made me think is, when I said we de-evolved our evolved state, is simple. We have managed, through all our advancements in technology, because, as I said at the beginning of the show, people are stupid, we have managed to advance ourselves back in time. We are now back in the golden age of spiritualism. Back when you used to have the mediums that kicked the tables and bumped them with their knees and talked about the spirits being there. Because now, if you are one of those kind of motherfuckers, you can actually go in and defraud anybody of anything. Because you can take a camera that will fool most people, take a picture and show it to them, and oh, look, there's a ghost in it. And it's like, to us, when we're looking at this as investigators, the first thing I do when I look at it is I'm like, no, that's an app. I know that for certain. First off, I have seen quite a few pictures that I can't quite explain, and none of them have full detailed apparitions in them quite like that. You're not going to get the picture of the perfect little, crying boy over in the corner. It's just not going to happen, folks. It just doesn't work that way. God, do I wish it did, but it doesn't. That's what we're searching for. And now with the fact that we've put in this, we've got these FM transmitters that can be linked and ran around and screwed around and gotten to where we could be broadcasting anything into a spirit box. And you also got to remember something with the FM transmitter, and I hope I'm not giving anything from Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures rather away. You don't have to be right next to the radio. Some of them have like a 25, 30, even 50-foot range.
The one I bought, because I've got one. I've done research with it. We were to use it to broadcast the signal of the XP7. So you could actually broadcast the XP7 over a radio off your phone onto a radio a number of feet away in a different room and see if you actually got results. And I think the transmitter I've got has got a range of like 100 feet.
Yeah. We actually bought one to do some experiments with here, and this was a cheap one from the dollar store. I mean, literally, like the dollar store. It was like, I think it was $11 or something like that, $10. And I think it's got a 75-foot range.
I mean, conceivably, if you're in a room and you're doing an EVP session on a spirit box, and I go into another room and I broadcast on a frequency that's in the range that's being scanned, and I say a word over and over again, at some point you'd probably pick it. I don't have a spirit box where I'd try it because I don't like the damn things. I don't think they work. I've never bought into that. If there are people that do, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but I just don't buy it. Because you're using something that's already got people talking on it. It's no matter what else it is, it's a radio. There are words coming out of it.
Yeah.
And you're going to get words.
No, it's like it's a great example because I for one do believe they actually work because I have had too many things that are direct, and I know people that have even more stuff, and even you've had it. You've had stuff that would not fit into the spectrum of radio.
I've had some stuff on the XP7 that I've had.
I'm sure Pete wouldn't mind me talking about this, but he actually talked about that with one of his investigations that he did. He was actually sitting with a spirit box, and he asked, he's like, does the whole thing, and he's like, can you tell me my name? And it says, clear as a bell, Peter. And he's like, okay, can you tell me my friend's name? And it actually answers that too. So you get stuff like that. There is something to it.
There
And
is, but I don't think it's consistent.
well, this is okay. I'm going to put this into again wrestling terms because that's kind of my thing. When I'm not doing this with the podcast network or any of that or actual evidence review or anything like that, I need something that needs no thought at all put behind it to just unwind and relax, and that happens to be pro wrestling. That's my thing. That's my mindless entertainment that I can just tune everything else out and watch and see that. But I like listening also to wrestling podcasts. So I listened to a guy named Jim Cornette, and he was talking about how when he first got into the business, the promoter he worked for told him how to make it work. And he's like, what you got to do is tell the people something they either A, know to be true or fully believe to be true, and then they'll believe the rest. Like, so if you're dealing with like somebody, talk about a past relationship with them. If they had a falling out, or if they, their wife just left them, something like that. Throw that in their face. Use that, because when the people realize, hey, that's true. If they look at it and go, well, A is true and B is true, C and D must be true. If A is true and B is true, C and D must be true. So let's put this into the realm of the spirit box, and that's where I'm going with this. Okay, we've gotten responses through a spirit box that said members of my team's full names. Another one that warned a member by name to go when we thought we might be running into a bear. We've got, like I was talking, Pete. He uses a spirit box, and it tells him his name and the person he was investigating's name. Then you got, like with you, it asked you where your roommate was when he was at work.
The box we're using wasn't a radio.
Yeah, the XB7 was not a radio though. That's true, because cell phones do not have the capability of actually being a radio. They cannot
can't do that.
Yeah, they can't tune AM FM frequencies in. They can't do it. But
So
my
there's
point A,
there's no chance of me picking up a radio station or something like that.
No,
But,
and that's true.
I mean,
and that's like I said. But my idea behind it is, if you make A and B are real, then you'll believe C and D. So again, like I said, this is going back into the golden age of spiritualism. I'm kind of embodying Harry Houdini here. Because, if everyone probably remembers the fact that Harry Houdini, at the end of his life, quit doing illusions and such like that, and basically dedicated his time into debunking spiritualists. The ones that did the what was it, the ectoplasm photos, and like I said, the stomping on the table and stuff like that to make it look like the table was jumping around. That's basically what he did. That's all he dedicated his life to at the end of his life. Near the end of his life, that was what he kind of dedicated it to. So, if we have responses that we can show, like direct names, and I'm not talking like, and it is more convincing if you say, hey, can you tell me your name? And it says, hey, I'm James, whatever. But there is a chance you can get that. But if you say, can you tell me my name? And it says your name, that's a whole other ball game. Or if you happen to say, is there anyone here who wants to speak to me? And it says, hey, where's so-and-so? Or I think we might be getting ready to run upon a bear. What should we do? Should we stay or should we go? And it goes, Roy, go. That is irrefutable. You ask it a question, and it says, calls to you by name and tells you to leave. Then you got to say, okay, there's something to that. So now we have A and B being known fact. Now, after this, we could set a command center with our little FM transmitter, transmitting whatever the hell we want. You've already got A and B as an accepted fact. You would automatically assume C and D would be the truth as well. And that's why I'm saying these things, we are in a point where hearing and seeing is no longer believing.
That's true.
So that is my first part of people are stupid. You got anything else you want to add to that one?
No, I think I'm good with that. I was looking at that picture you sent me.
Where do you want to start with that? I'll let you go first.
Well, I mean, in theory, it's a nice. And granted, if you got all the equipment and you don't want to have to carry it all, or you want to have different stuff together so you can detect it, but you can tell me, what is a periscope? Can you look that up and see what you get?
Actually, I was thinking about that earlier, and a lot of people are going, what is a... I think it's actually a scope off a gun. I honest to God, I think it's a scope off of a gun. I think it's a night vision scope.
Oh.
I'm going to see.
Well, now...
I want to see if I can find anything on a periscope.
Yeah, because I'm not what that exactly is. And before I call bullshit on something, I like to at least know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Whoa, no. A periscope. Hey, excuse me, we're having to clear my throat on air like that, but I might even edit that out. I don't know. Okay, a periscope, a multicolored tube in a circle that reads static energy, briefly blinking blue. That is what a periscope is.
And tell me again, now, what it detects? Static electricity.
Yeah, basically it's an EMF detector that lights up colors.
But they've got a K2 meter on there.
Yeah, so a periscope is actually a tool. It's not, because I honest to God, I've never heard of one. And I mean, it's absolutely, the EMF thing's done. I mean, that's all there is to it. The EMF thing is done.
People say that, and I don't think it actually is. Only because I think, it's not being used the right way, I don't think. An electronic voice phenomena is not a voice. There were researchers back in the 70s who were taking the diaphragms out of microphones and still getting quote unquote EVP. It has to be a function of a magnetic field. Everything that we record them on, magnetic. Tape deck, whether it's reel-to-reel or a cassette, a digital recorder, still got a magnet in it. Magnet produces a field. So there's still a component of EMF in everything that we get. Running around with a K2 meter or whatever isn't going to help you any.
That's what I was meaning.
It is, however, going to help you if you go somewhere and you look up into the house, and the house is sitting under a convergence of 3 or 4 high tension power lines, and you go in the house, and the air conditioner's giving off 500, giving off 500 milligauss of electricity or some damn thing.
Well, yeah, that absolutely, and it will help. It does help you debunk a lot of things, because as I've made no secret before, I have been the victim of. Well, I actually hate using the term victim of it because it wasn't all that bad, but I mean, I have experienced, I guess I should say, of electromagnetic interference and hallucinations. That were serious. They were bad. So I do know that they can mess with you really, really bad. And I know even where I'm at now, we have a lot of electronics. So of course, all electronics give off electromagnetic field. And I've talked I've talked to like the kids and everything when they come down. They talk about how it's real creepy, and you get this feeling like an uneasy, and you're being watched. And I was like, don't worry, it's just the EMF field. Or like when they'll sit down here alone, and they'll get this kind of feeling, and it's like that's the EMF field. That's all it is. So after that, they kind of started going, oh, okay, well that makes sense. I told them these are the effects of an electromagnetic field. This is what will happen to you, and then that makes sense. But like I said, first off, do you really need that much freaking EMF detection? You got a K2 meter, detects EMF fields. You got a REM pod that detects EMF fields, and apparently you got a periscope that detects EMF fields.
Also, the REM pod, depending on which REM pod they have, gives off its own EMF field.
Yep, and let's face it, originally I was wondering which one it was, because actually it would have to be the EMF one. That couldn't be the vibration one, because it would do no good hanging up like that.
If it's giving off its own EMF field, if there's an antenna sticking up out of it giving off field next to a K2 meter
and a
and underneath a periscope
and dowsing rod.
Also, a dowsing rod attached to a tripod. The dowsing rods normally are held in the hands.
Yep.
They use the circuit of your body and the convergence of flowing water that produces a current to cross. And I don't see how a dowsing rod hanging off of a tripod is going to detect anything.
I don't think it would either. But then again, I'm not completely convinced with the dowsing rod.
Now, I'm not going to say this guy's full of crap, because I didn't build this thing. I would love to have him come on the show.
Well, let's like I said, let's start off with the I guess let's do a Stewie Griffin compliment sandwich. One part of the compliment could be, it's got all your equipment on it at once. The bad thing is, you have a motion sensor light connected to a metal leg of a tripod with 2 other things that create EMF fields to detect EMF fields. You're creating one gigantic EMF field. So you're going to get nothing but false positives.
But on top of that, unless you've got a hell of a camera, the K2 meter ain't going to do you any good unless you're sitting there looking at it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it, that means you're close enough to set off the motion detector.
That's like I said. Now, I guess the closing part of that compliment sandwich could be, most likely it's going to stand up on its own. It is a tripod, and it's got the 3 legs.
Yeah.
And as long as you got the weight balanced, it should be fine.
Well, it looks like he's got the REM pod hanging off the middle.
Yeah, the weight hook,
the middle rod.
Yeah,
the weight hook. So it's not going to go nowhere.
See,
The
that's
motion
what.
light don't weigh anything. The K2 meter don't weigh anything. The dowser rods don't weigh anything. I don't know what a periscope weighs. I never had one. I never used one.
It
But
can't be. The ones I was looking up online, it looked pretty much like a regular. Like I was saying, that's why I thought it was some type of like scope off of a gun or some type of night vision scope, because that's what it looks like, and apparently that's what they're basically building it off of the rough design. Of course, I guess this one's been modified to be able to hook up to a tripod, which not bad actually. I gotta say, he got an A+ for ingenuity. It's just after ingenuity, that's where the rest of it starts to go downhill. Just because you can
well,
build
there's so much
something
that.
doesn't. Hmm?
I mean, just because you have all those things, and I mean, I've been researching this stuff for a long time, and you have too, but none of those things individually, when they go off, prove anything.
None of them, even
So
when
none
they're
of those
all
things,
together going
so
off,
none of those
prove
things,
anything.
none of those things together are going to prove anything either.
Yeah. See, that's what I was saying when I was saying the EMF thing was done. It wasn't a matter of, oh, well, the whole field has been wiped out. No, the EMF field is still a crucial part of it. But what we use to detect it and why we can detect what we detect, telling what that K2 meter will detect an EMF field. If I put it up to a light socket, it's going to detect an EMF field. If I put it up to a refrigerator, it's going to detect an EMF field. But that K2 meter cannot tell me I'm putting it next to a refrigerator or a microwave or a light socket or my head or anything else.
Yeah.
It can't tell me that. So until we make a meter that can say I'm standing next to a refrigerator, that happens to be a microwave or something like that, we're never going to get anywhere with using those tools. Except and I'm going to keep reiterating this, they are great for debunking. Because if you walk in, like I did in a one house I investigated in Wilmington a long time ago, they were telling me, oh, we're paranoid. It feels like there's people watching us. We try to relax and watch TV, and we start freaking out, and we do this, and we do that, and we do this. And I was like, okay, well, I'll come in and check. So the first thing I do, of course, is I start doing a regular sweep and walk through, and I walk into their living room, and they created a fear cage. They had plugs and speaker wire ran literally all the way across their ceiling. They had it running around their walls. They had different electrical cords running around their walls. They had surge protectors everywhere. Sitting in the middle of that room, I turned an EMF detector on. I've got, I think it was 74 milligauss. And I looked at them and I was like, you have a fear cage. And they're like, what's a fear cage? And I explained to them this, and I was like, if you take this stuff down, you're probably going to be fine. Really? You think? Yeah, I do. Honest to God, I believe if you take all of this stuff down, you'll be fine. And that's what they tried. I didn't hear from them again.
Their brains are being bombarded by electromagnetic field.
Yeah, I told them. I was like, you're getting exactly what I told them. I was like, you're getting bombarded by a very high electromagnetic field. Like, so if you took all this stuff down, all of your anxiety and everything is going to go away. Oh yeah, we'll try that. And I contacted them a little bit later. Hey, do you need any? No, everything's going good. We'll let you know if we need you. And I never heard from them again. So there you go. Yes, that was when a EMF detector was a great tool, because I looked at this and said, oh crap, this is a problem. I turn on my EMF detector. It's like, yeah, it's a problem. It's stating it right there. It's a problem. But to sit there with a K2 meter. Now, and I will say, again, if you use them where with the team I started with in Wilmington, had a really good piece of video evidence. I believe it to the end. They were doing a K2, they were doing an EVP session, and they had a K2 meter on. And the K2 meter was flashing with responses. Can you light up 2 lights? Can you light up 1 light? Can you this kind of thing. It's actually like when you're sitting there and it's completely black, and you say, can you light up 2 lights? and 2 lights light up on that damn K2 meter, and you say thank you, can you light up 1 light and 1 light lights up on that K2 meter, and thank you, can you light up all the lights and all the lights light up on the K2 meter, you go, okay, I got something here. And they were doing yes or no questions. You know, are you a male? If you're a man, light up 1 light. If you're a man, if not, don't light anything up. Are you a man? Nothing lights up. Are you a woman? The thing lights up. You've got to give that a little more credibility, because a electromagnetic field would not do that normally. Again, I have no clue what in the hell was doing it. I don't know. It could have been any number of things. But the fact of it is, it was something a little unusual. But again, until you have an EMF detector that says that's a fridge, that's a microwave, that's a TV, I don't know what the fuck that is, you got a problem. And that's all there is to it. And I think the guy, while, like I said, he got an A for ingenuity, just because you can build something, don't mean you should. And I think basically this guy's going to get a whole lot of false positives. He's probably going to get some of the greatest evidence he's ever gotten in his entire life off of this thing, and it's going to go nowhere. So, anything else you want to add into the paramonstrosity?
I can't think of anything. More power to you, guy. I mean, if you're going to go at it, go at it. I got to give you props. At least you're out there trying it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you're full of crap. Really not, because I mean, you're out there giving it a go, and that's a whole lot more than some people I've seen. So,
God,
have at it.
And believe me, and that's always, people talk about that with inventions. Period. If you would see some of the crap the inventors invented before they made the real one, then you would be amazed. And just to let everyone know that I really am not like knocking the guy. The method to his madness is fine. The madness might not be so great, just because I think he's got a lot of stuff that's going to interact with each other and cause him to have a lot of bad readings that he might interpret as real. I will tell a story.
If he gets a bunch of stuff, if he gets some evidence, I'd be glad to see it and have him come on the show and talk about it.
Absolutely. Now, like I said, I'm going to tell a story about myself, because this is something that when you're in this field, you do try to do stuff to make life easier. Like, we used to use multiple cameras and handheld cameras when I first started. This was back in the time before DVR systems. They were still very, very new and very, very expensive. So we actually used tape cameras. We recorded on VCRs.
I remember those days.
Well, when I first started, we had, it took us close to an hour and a half to set everything up. This is running wires, hooking up TVs, hooking up the VCRs, running everything together. We were there like an hour and a half setting stuff up, and also an hour and a half taking the stuff down. So I remember sitting in Star's house after an investigation one night, and I looked at her and I was like, there has got to be an easier way to do this shit.
Yep.
And she looked at me and she's like, well, if you can think of one, by all means, let me know. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I went home and I went to bed. And then I forgot about it for 3 or 4 days, because that's what I do. And the next time I saw her, she goes, hey, did you manage to think anything that might make the setup easier? And I go, no, I didn't, because I totally forgotten about it. But now that you talked about it, let's think about it. So I was sitting there and she was looking at this rack. It was a baker's rack, one of the wooden, or not wooden, but the metal, the metal wire baking racks. Everybody's seen one of those. Probably everybody's grandmother's had one or two. And I was sitting there and I was looking at that and I'm going, I was like, what can we do? And she's like, well, I was thinking if we did this and we did that. And I'm like, no. And I was like, I got it. So I took all of our VCRs, which I think we had 6. Because if I'm not mistaken, it had 2 on each rack. It was a three. It had three racks, and then it had the top part. So I take the two racks the racks, and I put a VCR, two VCRs on each of them. We go to Harbor Freight Tools and we buy switches. You know those switches where you could hit back and forth between this channel or this device and that device.
Yeah.
We bought like three of those and hooked them up and piggybagged them off each other all the way up. Then Star had a flat screen TV because she had bought just for this and brought with us everywhere. We hooked it up and I made it to where it could actually fold down, where it would be latched in place with the screen down, so the screen wouldn't get bounced and hit and broken. And we called it the Frankenrack. It took our hour and a half setup time and cut it down to about 20 minutes. Because all we did was walked in, found a plug, plugged that thing into the wall, hooked the camera up to it, walked the camera to where we're going to set it up, and it was ready to go. The TV, the VCRs, everything working together, and all you had to do was hit one button or one button or one button or one button, and you change between each TV and each camera. Each one working great. That thing looked like a monstrosity.
When you did that one, I remember you guys talking about Frankenrack.
That thing looked like an absolute monstrosity.
Monkey fucking a football.
Pretty much. And that's exactly what, I remember when we first showed that to the other guys at C-Spot. They look at it and they're sitting there, and it was I think it was Matt that said it. He looks at it and he goes, "What the hell is that?" Because we had it wrapped up in a moving blanket. So me and Star grab it, take it out of the Jason's van. We take it out of his van. We set it down. Matt looks at it and he goes, "What the hell is that?" And I looked at him and I was like, "It's the Frankenrack, the mobile command unit." "What the hell does it do?" Then we dropped the cover off of it, and there's the VCRs. We pulled the TV up, latch it into place, boom, done. Command center's made. And I mean, we even had a thing where we could actually take the TV off and like set it on if we were in some place that had a desk, would set it on. It looked like I said, it looked like a damn monstrosity. The thing was like 6 feet tall and probably 100 pounds. But it was completely functional, and it did exactly what we needed it to do when we needed it to do it. And like I said, it cut that time down so far. It literally saved over 2 hours each investigation. Actually closer to 3 hours each investigation. And people who've not done a paranormal investigation, sometimes at the end of the night, especially if you've had a really active night where you're running here and you're running there and you're running the other place, or you have a vast area to investigate, you're dead. You are dead tired. You do not want to move. If you got an hour and a half of taking crap down, you're just sitting there like, Jesus, I don't want to do this. Well, Star usually stayed at command. Me, Jason, and Matt would go out, grab a camera, grab the camera on the tripod, roll up the camera wire while we were coming back. Boom, done. We had more camera, it was just quick. We could just go out, get them, come back, go out, get them, come back. And it killed the time. It went, like I said, it went from like an hour and a half to down to like 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. It was all it took to set it up.
It's really all you wanted to do was go to the huddle house for breakfast and go home and go to bed.
Yeah, pretty much that was it. I don't know how many nights Jason actually started getting a little. I actually asked him. I was like, "Do you ever get nervous?" Because we had a big amount of gear. Not necessarily like a lot. We had like K2 meters and EMF detectors and all of that stuff, but we had a lot of cameras. And at the time, each one of those handheld cameras were night vision capable. Those things probably ran $250 each. At least. if not more.
Yeah, enough to steal over.
And now here they are sitting in these big black boxes. People could just bust in that van, grab grab a box each and haul ass. I actually asked him, I'm like, "You ever get nervous carrying that stuff around?" He's like, "Nah, not really." But that was just, I was still like I said, I was still like, "Holy crap!" But that was a lot of the night. Most of the time, we did undo it. But there was just a couple of investigations. Like by the time we actually got back to our we got back to Stars because Star held on to the equipment. We were done. It was just like, leave it in the van, forget about it. We'll go on.
Well, now,
But
I don't get to go out as much as I'd like, mostly because of logistics with the wheelchair, because I'm in one now. But when I got to where I carry the most minimal gear possible. I'll carry a digital recorder, a camera, and I have a millimeter to measure the baseline EMF, and it's also got a K-type thermocouple on it to give me the temperature. And that's all I carry because I don't want to have to lug all that gear.
yeah,
I have a hard enough time lugging me.
well, I'm the same way. I bring my computer. I have all my stuff in my computer bag. I bring two digital cameras, and I bring my two body cams. I use my phone as a voice recorder, and the only reason why I bring the computer with me, the laptop with me, is because I clean stuff off during the investigation. I clean my card off. That's it. So and that's all I bring. That's all I need. I don't even really need that. Well, actually, the two digital cameras, I use them for stills. And it's just so when one dies, I've got the other one. Body cams I use as either stationary cameras or something of that nature. And then that's it.
Well,
Or like I
since
said,
you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
the stationary cameras, or I use them as body cameras. I have a head mount for it, and I wear them. And that's it. That's all
Well,
I
since
take
you
with me.
brought up self,
Yeah. I'm
and I
moving
know,
our app of the week. Now, which one did you want to do?
well,
You
before
do
we do
the
that,
picking up a little bit.
well, one thing first, we've been talking about the old days. And I can't talk about the old days without thinking about Star. So, honey, bless you, we love you, and we'll miss you.
Yeah. Well, every time we talk about this stuff, that's Star. For the people who are new to the show, Star Anderson was really the one that got. Well, actually, if it wasn't for her, I would not be sitting here right now. I would not be part of it. I would have never gotten started in it, and I would have never met Michael. I would have never, she was kind of the one that brought everything together, and she's actually the one I started the Nightstalker with. So every time we do this, every time we talk about it, every time we do anything with this, she's always right there, always right in the middle of it. Because there's never going to be a time that we can't talk about something we've done or a memory of something or something of that nature that Star's not going to always be part of.
Yeah, it
But
always kind of gets me a little bit.
yeah, she passed away earlier this year suddenly, and it's still been a lot to go through. And it's kind of seeing the new places that the Night Stalker's going and the new level of success and everything that we're having. I wish she'd have been around to have seen it because she'd be happy. You know, she would have definitely been happy with this.
Yeah, plus she'd have been busting her balls.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. She was very good at that. She always had something, and I would I dearly would have loved. I remember right before she passed away. It was when we were first getting go. I was first getting going in PNBC, and I was talking, and I was actually getting for lack of a better term, a school together. And I told the guys, like, you're about to get a paranormal education second to none. And I remember looking at Dan because Dan does joke a lot, and I was like, You're going to want to watch that with Star. I was like, because she'll tear you apart.
Oh, they would have been enough of him left to worry about.
No, she would have torn him apart. She would have just, because Star could be vicious when she wanted to be.
Oh, I know.
Oh God, I have heard. Well, it's like us, and it's funny because it's not only in the paranormal stuff. Like we've talked about, we're doing a podcasting network, and I'm working as a producer with a lot of other people right now, trying to get everything worked out and design the new pages and new logos and everything like that. But I have a problem, and I'm always chasing perfection. Good enough is never good enough for me. I always want to try something new, try something different, always chasing perfection. And if I ever find perfection, I'm going to change it. It's just that's the way I am. So I was actually talking to a guest of the show, Psychic Medium Sherry. She's been on it quite a few times. She's a host of Paranormal Horizons. She is going to be doing a podcast on the network about inner enlightenment and just dealing with everything from, healthy eating routines and working out and going into like mediums and spiritualisms and things like that. It's going to cover just everything. It's going to be a total variety. But I've been really working on her banners and stuff like that. And I told her a couple of nights ago, I need Star here. Because Star used to have a bottle for her cats filled with water and vinegar. And when I would either get mad at my computer and start yelling at it, or when I would start changing stuff after she's already like, that's great, I love that, she'd spray me with it to stop it. I cannot tell you the reaction I've had when the first time I'm sitting there, when the cats get into something, she would spray them with this. Because it doesn't hurt them, it's all natural and everything, but it stinks. So the cats are like, what the hell's that on? Oh my God, and they got to go clean up. I'm sitting there and I can't remember what I was doing, and I started yelling at my computer. I'm like, you stupid piece of shit, and and I'm like, all of a sudden this wet gets me right in the head, and I'm like, what the hell? I looked over her and she's like, stop it, and sprays me again. I was like,
oh, I didn't know that. I could just see her doing that though.
and you know what? It stops you dead in your tracks because it does.
Yeah.
It's cold water and it stinks, and it's like, stop it. And I was like, what the hell? Okay, I'm stopping. And she used to do that when I was designing the original Nightstalker site because I did it at her house. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm talking. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? Oh, wow, I really like that. Yeah, but if I just did the, there it comes. I'm like, okay, I'm stopping. I'll leave the font alone. That kind of. She would treat me just like the cats. Whenever I start doing something wrong, she just spray me with her bottle of not bleach, but vinegar and water.
Oh God, that sounds about right. Well, I guess we ought to move on to apps again.
Yeah, it was good to have a laugh about that one, though.
Yeah, it's good to have a laugh and think about her. But I tell you, it feels like we've been doing a whole lot of talking about apps for detecting spirits and ghosts and that kind of stuff. And it feels like we're spending way too much time talking about the fact that these things don't work.
Well, that's the thing. We keep getting people, and when I said people are stupid, I want to make this completely clear. I'm not talking about the people that download these apps. Because as researchers and investigators, you've got to try everything. It's worth a shot, because what are you out? If you pay for the app, most of them are like 99 cents, $1, $2, $3. If you don't pay for the app, you're out absolutely nothing but time. And so why not? Give it a shot. It's the app creators that are continuously, which of course I guess really wouldn't be stupid, it would be pretty smart. I mean, they're making a fucking fortune at this. I looked at one yesterday that the pro version was like $3.99 and had 4 million downloads. So that's 4 million downloads times $3.99. You're looking at close to what?
$16 million.
Wait, why in the
Well,
hell are we doing podcasts? We need to start writing apps.
well, shit, you know how to do that. I'm mad at you now that I think
Yeah, it's like
about it. You could be doing that
now that I'm
across
thinking
these
about
years.
it, I'm like, holy crap! I could make a really good. I could make a I could make a really good fake app, and integrity. I think the price tag on integrity is about $16 million.
No,
You
it's all
know?
you hate because I get half.
Yeah, but then I got the Canadian switch around. We'll do it in U.S. We'll do it in U.S. dollars, not Canadian. So you'll get your 8 million. I'll get my 8 million. But by the time you add the Canadian dollar deficit on it, it's like freaking 30 cents on the dollar. I'd be getting like 10 million. So yeah, I'll take $10 million
Yeah,
dollars.
that'll work. So let's just say the hell with the
Everything's got a
podcast and
price.
start making that. But
But the one,
we downloaded one the other day. We had one.
yeah, let's talk about that one. I'm actually bringing it up on my phone so I can actually figure out what this is called. This one is called. Well, there are two versions. This is one of them that allows you to use a paid version or a free version, and both are called Ghost Com. Well, we've got Ghost Com Lite, which is the free version, and Ghost Com Pro, which is the paid version. I hear you're starting it up as well.
Yep, I got it going.
So, here's how it works. It is called Ghost Com, Ghost Communicator. You have two options, which I only have one since this is the free version. I refuse to pay for this thing. One is the Ghost Communicator, and as you hit the button to bring it up, it doesn't do anything. Seriously, mine just crashed. Bad sign right there. Okay, now it's rebooting, and okay. So yeah, the app just actually crashed on me. So it says, hold your finger on the circle to contact the spirits. For best result, use in a darkened room. Well, crap. Not only is it broad daylight, I have a light on in my room, so we're going to go with it anyway. And we hold, and there's a circly thing, and a blue flashy thing, or is that blue or purple? Okay, now it says remove your finger and await the message. And we are awaiting my message. And we are awaiting my message. And we are awaiting my message. Under review. Don't. Okay, see, this is the thing, and I wish podcasts had the ability to see what I'm looking at. Because this says, review Christmas worry, don't financial pressure.
Well, mine says, can stubborn you closely hear fears your me despite.
So okay, can you even make a coherent sentence out of that?
Yeah, I can make two. It says, one of them is, can you hear me? And then, if I try, I can make sense out of the words on the screen. And then, despite your fears, and stubborn despite your fears. You could basically make something out of it, but the words are just gibberish. There's no.
Well, I can't make anything out of this without adding words to it. Well, actually, I can. I can make one semi-sentence. Don't worry. And then maybe financial pressure, under review, Christmas. I have no clue what in the hell all that would mean. That makes no sense. So I'm actually going to do this again. We're going to reset it. No, I do not want to go. Actually, it just brought an ad up for the Facebook page, and I am going to go to it.
Yeah, mine did too.
Because I'm going to attempt to get them mothers on here. Now, let's go to, let's get out of that. Don't want to do that. Oh, good work. Link to Facebook is broken. It didn't work. Okay, let's try this again, though. And then we're going to talk about the other part that this thing does. And now I'm going to hold my finger on it, and it's going to blink and circle and blink and
Hell,
circle.
it can't find the ghost. It can't even find Facebook.
It can't even find its own Facebook page. So, GhostCom, Ghost Communicator, what do you have to tell me now? And we are still waiting for my message. And we're still waiting for that message. Oh, here it
Meanwhile,
comes. Now, decision by get a will. What the hell word is that? Abdoulaye. Abduli? Abdulay? What the hell word is that?
I don't know. Spell it again.
Abdoulaye.
I have no idea what that is.
We gonna look that shit up.
I just
Oh,
got had together. We laughing Miguel. 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 We together. Had together. We laughing Miguel.
that's like I said. This is gibberish, and now I don't even think it's freaking English. Abdoulaye Wade is the former president of Senegal. I was right. It's not. It's a West African masculine name. It's a West African masculine name and surname. Uh, I'm in Western Canada. I highly doubt there are any West African people here.
Mine says now more complicate you are get hopping only will things network. I tell you what, folks, I'm just going to come out and say it. Whatever this thing is
It's
complete crap.
and I got to use my bull sound effects. I'm happy with that. But now let's talk about the feature, which is on the paid version, that is what drew my attention. Because one of the other things this thing is supposed to do that we have not been able to test out due to the fact that I'm not going to give the son of a bitch $3 for this thing is a automatic drawing that draws the face of the ghost that is speaking to you. So some people were posting their results on the Facebook group. We've got pictures that look something similar to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which actually be kind of cool if you think about it. Could you imagine being the one person to be able to say, my house is haunted by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
You probably sell tickets.
Yeah, I would think. Now, the next one is, somebody posted it, and the person was like, I kind of see a face. If you turn your phone to like a 45-degree angle and your head to a 95-degree angle, and if the light hits it just right, by the time you have turned your head and your phone and go into the light spectrum, if you have to do all of that to see a face, you're trying way too fucking hard. Let's face it, what it was a blob of nothing. All of the pictures I've seen are blobs of nothing. So, like I said, now that if the damn the Facebook page still exists, or they just screwed up programming their app and not bothered to put the proper link in it, which should give you all the faith you need to have in an app company right there. If they can't even bother to put the app to their own damn Facebook page in it, what the hell good do you think they're going to do with the app? But there again, as we have said with Ghost Com, either light or I would assume pro, it is bullcrap. And I got to use my sound effect twice. I'm very proud of that sound effect. I downloaded it myself. So, I think actually, since the app thing is taking off into a whole other realm and getting into a whole other popularity, and like I said, I just see it place after place after place after place after place. This app, that app, your app, my app. We'll do this now as a weekly segment. Into every show, we're going to put out an app. If you have an idea for an app, you can send it to us on Facebook at Nightstalker Pod, on Twitter at Nightstalker Pod. You can leave a comment on our Spreaker site. Spreaker, I still cannot believe I mispronounced that for like 5 months. So you can get in touch with us any way you know how, even on the PNBC page, which is at Paranormal BC, or on the PNBC website no ads at all at this. It is www.paranormalbc.com. So you can get in touch with us anywhere there and tell us an app. We are next week, probably, depending on how, because we've actually got a couple of shows in the bank. I don't know. We might actually just be doing them. I haven't figured that one out yet. We will either be doing A, the real ghost detector, or B, ghost hunting tools ghost detector. And how many freaking apps are out there called ghost detectors? Well, anyway, the Ghost Hunter tool ghost detector is supposed to do, and now this one I'm still trying to get in touch with this person. You don't go on Facebook making no damn claim like you made. What was her name? Bridget?
Yeah.
Bridget. You don't get on Facebook making a damn claim like you made without backing that shit up. She said she used the ghost hunting tools detector, and she has video and audio evidence that prove the stuff on the screen is 100% accurate. You don't make a claim like that around me without backing it up, and that is exactly what I said in the comments. So you have an actual recorded EVP and actual video or photographic evidence of something happening at the exact same time as this is activating and happening, and saying the exact same words that this thing is saying. If she's got that evidence, I want her on. And we will have her on with the app people, so let them all know.
Yeah, I mean, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know everything. I do not. I wish I did. I'd be rich. But if you're going to say you've got something and you whatever else about something that does something, if you've got evidence, come show it.
Yeah. Don't bring a little if you ain't got enough for the whole class.
We'll be glad to talk to you. We want to hear the evidence. We've reviewed evidence from other people, from other groups all over the country and across the world. We've done that. We still do that. But if you say you've got evidence you got from your app or an app that you bought, don't be afraid to show it.
Exactly.
I want to see it.
Anything else you want to throw in for the week?
I can't think of nothing.
All right, well then let me get in my cavalcade of random plugs. No, I'm not randomly plugging stuff. This is going to be a cavalcade and parade of quite direct and knowledgeable plugs. So, first off, happening on the Night Stalker Network, this Friday we have the next episode of UCF with Ryan Stacy, where he's going to be talking about his 500th case investigated for MUFON Canada. Also, coming up on December 26th, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. This is 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the debut of Dark Side of the Paranormal with June Lundgren and Winnie Stanton Phillips. So now, after this, we are actually that's going to be turning into a weekly podcast. We've already got the first two episodes after this, or the first three episodes actually, in the bank and are ready to go. And she's going to be bringing, in the coming new year, the first week of January, she is going to be bringing a look at behind the scenes of Ghost Adventures. She has been on the show. The team she works with has been on the show as well. They're all going to sit around, do a roundtable 2-part discussion of the behind the scenes of Ghost Adventures. Each one of them's own experience, the stuff that they did, interacting with the crew, everything else. It is absolutely the only behind the scenes you've ever heard from people who have been on Ghost Adventures and how everything works behind the scenes. It's incredible to listen to. Of course, also coming in the new year, Portal of Enlightenment with psychic medium Sherry. She's going to be bringing in a whole, like I was talking about earlier, a whole other aspect and of looking at things with different, depending on even what it is, because basically it's completely up to her as it works. It can be one week about meditation and yoga. It can be about, diet, nutrition, exercise routines, even going into the metaphysical. I found it last night. I think she said she has been, she actually went to a party last night for a metaphysical group she's been part of for over, I think she said 25 years. So she's been in this a long time. It's going to incorporate everything. It is going to be a completely awesome and completely new type of show. So, all of that can be found on Spreaker, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, Google Play, and anywhere else you download your podcasts from. And if it's not there, it's coming soon. So, anything else you want to put in before we say goodbye?
I can't think of nothing. There probably is something I should say, but I don't know what the hell it is.
I've always got that. There's probably something I should say, but I don't know what the hell it is. So until next week, this is Joel Walling signing off for Michael Smith. Have a good weekend, and we will talk again soon.